Ketchup chips.
There, now we're live. Yeah.
Hello. This is my introduction. How's everyone?
Good,
What is up?
So
Good to
we've
see all you
got
guys.
Chaotic, Beauty and Crime. We've got Hoosier Cold Cases, and myself on the top row. And we've got Sunny, the sunny part of It's a Crime and Shame, and Sleuth Intuition, and Ivy Rose. She's back, guys.
I lost.
So how is
Hello.
Sorry about that.
Good to see everybody.
Yeah.
I'm doing
Yeah,
wonderful.
sorry. I had your live playing in the back, and I'm like, "What's playing?" But it was me, so my bad.
It's that stage fright. It's like,
that's
are we live?
Yeah.
So
I'm
what's
just so
everybody
used
been
to-
doing? Oh, here she is. Incognito Society. Hello.
Hello, Incognito Society. Good to finally meet you.
How's
How are you
everybody?
doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Wow.
We're good. We're getting lots of love in the chat. Everybody's like excited about this, so that's awesome.
Yeah, it's weird. I had to open up the other one just so I could see the chat. I was like, "Where's the chat?" I'm not seeing it, but I'm in your live. I'm good.
Oh, I'm in your live. Now it's me. Sorry. How do you guys man? Like Sleuth, I was watching you earlier. You do such a good job of like hitting up the chat and like going back. It is so difficult.
It wasn't always like that.
Focused on it. Yeah.
If you just keep at it, like you'll just keep improving at it, and eventually you'll be like, won't even notice it.
I think I noticed that you kind of take like intermittent pauses to do just that.
Well, you don't want to forget about the chat. That's really the reason I go there. The other stuff is just like filler, but really I just kind of want to hear what everybody's talking about.
Right.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
What's up, Captain?
I do too. I just get so, I don't know, just the ADHD, I guess. Like I'll either get totally sidetracked and just like rabbit trail, or I'm just going to focus on this piece of paper I'm reading right now.
Well, that's the best thing to happen. Like when you kind of forget that you're like on a live stream and you just go right into your deep thoughts, and becomes very intimate, and then you're able to capture those thoughts that you're not able to when you got that stage fright or that, oh shit, I'm on a live stream. But when you're able to lose all that and really get into the depth of your thoughts, that's when it's really fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. Hello, Beholder. And my panel pals. Those P's don't come off very good on audio. Hey, Dee, how are you?
Hey, Dee.
What about you, Hoosier? Do you have trouble concentrating on the two things at one time?
Oh, I can't do it at all. No. I'm terrible at it.
I didn't
want. Then I try to go back at the end, and I'm like, I don't know. It's a train wreck for me.
Last live, it was cool because it was just kind of like all of your attention just at the end, and
I need to do lives where I just interact.
I did that the other day because I was feeling like I hadn't in a while. Like I get too focused on, like especially if it's like a older case or I'm reading a bunch. But I like it. I miss it. So it's like it's kind of nice just to have that chat with the chat. But
I drove. Tech Death is asking about. I drove 7.5 hours round trip yesterday to buy a guitar amplifier, and I was like, as soon as I got it and got back in the car, I like sent a picture to Tech Death.
Oh yeah, I'm still waiting on my music, Tech Death. Hey, Crimezilla, how are you?
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Hello, how are you?
Good. I'm a little late. Sorry.
So what are you guys working on your channels? What's going on? Just hard to do anything right now. I've just been Delphi every day. So
Waiting game.
Just waiting. Yeah. Just waiting.
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
maybe. I mean,
it's like bigger than the election.
Pretty much.
I agree with that.
Oh, man.
no use for a name. I got a Friedman Small Box 50. It's a plexi, basically.
Like some
I
vintage.
don't know anything about amps.
Yeah, they're Dave Friedman was like fixing all these rock stars amplifiers, and he's like, well, why don't I just build some? And they're
Some hi-fi.
They're amazing. Yeah.
You play the piano, don't you?
I tickle the ivories. I don't know. I don't know.
I play the fiddle on your heart. Does that count?
I play the skin flute occasionally. No, I don't know.
Oh, precious.
I don't know what that means.
The kids say it at the park a lot.
Yeah,
yeah.
It sounds very Ed Gein of you.
Jeez.
But yeah. What do you guys want to talk about? Like, what's anything? Anybody jump in?
Well, what about the court thing that just came out? I mean, I haven't really read it all, but obviously it's all the things that are to go on with what to expect, what the press is to expect, where the public's to go, and everyone. So I haven't read it all yet.
I am out of the loop, so I don't even know what you're talking about. So there was a court thing that came out.
Probable
Yeah.
cause affidavit.
No.
Good to see you, Ivy.
Hello. I don't know what's going on.
He's referring to the Delphi court hearing on the 22nd, the decorum.
Hmm.
It's
That what the word is?
Yeah, it's just to discuss whether they unseal it, right, or keep it sealed.
Well, I knew that
Yeah,
was coming out.
she's just talking about the rules that I think the judge
Rules.
put out for the actual courtroom
okay.
itself.
Oh,
The behavior.
tweeting, what they're allowed to do. Yeah. So
It's ridiculous how the public apparently has just gone like they have no manners or anything, acting crazy.
I try to, I try to be sane. I'm sorry. Try.
Well,
Bloodlust.
not you guys.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm a member of Bloodlust Island, apparently.
Yeah, there's a lot of bloodlust going
I'm on
on.
the canoe behind you. Yeah.
There's a transport order entered as well.
Yeah.
And courthouse management and decorum order for hearing. So I mean, I would assume that I think they did that. Didn't they do that in the Kagan Klein? And there a decorum in there as well that they added to it. I'm assuming they're both getting pretty out of hand, or they plan on it getting out of hand.
Oh, yeah.
The
it's
Carroll County
expected,
Court
apparently.
is pretty small. So I don't know. You're going to have to get there real early. And I'm assuming they're probably going to, I don't know if they can though. I don't know with the courts being open to the public, they wouldn't be able
Hoosier,
to.
you going down there?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you
see
really?
what happens. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll wake up at 8 and roll down there, or try to wake up a little earlier. We'll see. I'm not good at waking up earlier than usually.
What are your plans? Are you gonna stream? Are you gonna do any reporting?
I'll do as much as I can. I've got a watch. I was thinking about, like, if it's, I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble though, because they will take.
Yeah, they will.
What you could do is bring something in there and like do a little sketch. Are you good at sketching?
No, but I can do stick figures.
Yeah, like do like some
stick figures.
Like describe what you're seeing. It'd be very interesting, like to hear like kind of
Tweet
the
it
look
out.
on his face, because I think he's going to be there. Richard Allen, I think, is being ordered to be in the courtroom.
Yeah, I saw like a transfer order on my case.
Well, about 5 minutes before we went live, they put out a news release saying that he was ordered to be there. So he's got to face these people. You know, they're going to force him to face.
Wow.
You know,
there in Carroll County.
He doesn't even know what he's being charged with.
I think he
For
does.
real?
I think it's sealed to
pretty sure he
us.
does.
I think it's sealed to us, not him. You know what
That's
I mean?
what I've always thought. And they
From
would have
what
told
I
him that when they arrested him, right?
Yeah.
There's that one attorney that keeps saying that, but that's not always the case.
'Cause
Yeah,
some
I
of the
just saw that
neighbors,
today too.
some
Sorry.
of the neighbors said that they, like when they were, I think it was the neighbors, or maybe it was News of Crew, one of those, that when they were doing the search, him and his wife, like kind of were in the van / SUV or whatever that thing was. And then they would get out every once in a while. And then at the end, they handed him a piece of paper and then they arrested him. So I'm assuming that the piece of paper had the information about what he was being arrested for and charged with.
Mm-hmm.
Probably
I
just
mean, he
said no.
probably knows what he's being charged with, but
Yeah.
probably not all the detail, maybe.
That's what I think too.
Yeah.
That's just a guess, but that's what I think.
I keep hearing they're not unsealing it because they don't want to show their incompetence or something. But
Right.
Thank you, Jer. What a cast of characters. Get your popcorn ready.
was,
Hey, what's
I
up,
mean,
Jared?
and how did they know to dig in like one spot by his flower garden or something? Like
That's
very
what I
strange.
want to know.
Isn't that weird?
Because it was
They said it was
precise.
like such a small,
He had a
precise.
map on his desk in his garage that said X marks the spot with evidence
Right.
that I'm the murderer. Or
I mean,
something. Like
a metal detector. If they were looking for something that was metal.
What about
like,
this? So they go in, they show up, and they say, "Hey, we have probable cause to search your property and detain you." And then they ask all of the immediate family members to come in for interviews, and one of them says, "Well, he does a lot of weird shit over here, and in that shed."
Right. That's
or
good.
it was a cat that passed away recently, and they were looking for cat hairs, and they knew where to dig because they asked Kathy or something like that.
One of the holes, though, was allegedly like the size, I want to say they said of like a pop bottle cap and
Yeah,
like super shallow.
it's very strange.
So, like, how would you know exactly where that's at?
Right.
If they, I mean, I guess they could stick a camera down into the earth.
Don't you think don't you think that they have one of those probes, kind of like what they do in cement? Instead of having to dig, they just use their probes or whatever, so that they can
ground
Sonar.
penetrating radar.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think
that-
that
thank you.
far into
Maybe
it.
Penetrating.
That would
That
make
would-
sense.
I mean, if you can go to the
Jurassic
hospital,
Park
they
shit.
stick a camera inside of you and do surgery laparoscopically, I'm sure they could figure out a way to do it on a yard or like, you know. You
Now,
know.
my question is why he knew they were looking and then didn't get arrested for 2 weeks. Why not? Probably not the popular opinion here, but why not run?
Probably didn't know.
If that's what happened, though, like that contradicts the story that I just said, which I can't remember who that came from, that they were there, they were out in the car, and then at some point after however many hours, they gave him a piece of paper and they took him in. So were they there twice, or is that story not
Yes.
true?
Well, they detained him for 6 hours. They came back, and then they served him with the search warrant and searched for another 6 hours.
That's a good point then, Karen, because if I was detained for 6 hours about that, I would have dug up everything in my yard. It would have been
Exactly.
gone.
No, they detained him.
Oh, I
Well,
thought
but
you
I'm
meant two
wondering
separate, like on
if
separate
he
days. Okay.
is such a narcissist that he's like, oh, I'm going to beat this. In the sense of, in the way his thought process. For people that don't know my background's behavior, and so I'm looking at what the behavior would be from him doing that. So that's why I bring that up. It was just a topic.
Maybe not to look guilty, or I'm assuming they had somebody watching him as well. Like when he got in his car
Absolutely.
and went to the store, there's somebody right behind him. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I want to know about this whole thing about this police source that's saying that he said that he was on the bridge that day. Besides it coming
I've been
from
hearing
that
that. I've been hearing this
Our
since the
officer.
very beginning.
Yeah.
That,
I mean,
yeah,
go ahead,
it's
Sleuth.
weird. From the very beginning, I've heard people would say, "Stop talking about the guy on the bridge. He's already come forward. He's been cleared." So what I'm thinking that is now is that's part of the family trying to push that narrative because they're in denial about it. You know, they're like, "Stop talking about it. I don't know why law enforcement hasn't cleared him." We all know who that is, but he's come forward. So there was
That's
a
a good
small
point.
group of people who were pushing that early on, and I couldn't understand what, like, there's just no way law enforcement would have said up front, hey, the guy on the bridge, we've already cleared him.
I always thought that was after the second sketch came out, because there was a podcast, I forget who it was, but it was like a prominent investigator, profiler type person. And to me, it sounded like they were just putting theories out there. And when the new sketch came out on their podcast, they said something like, well, I'm thinking this is what happened. And they explained the situation where like they ID'd the guy on the bridge, and it turns out that like he was so and so, but they cleared him, and that's why the new sketch came out. And then not everybody, some people took that as fact and started saying that the guy on the bridge had already been identified, and that was the old sketch, and now they're using the new sketch was a whole different person, which is why the police had to come and do, even after they did the press conference, they had to clear some things up. But was that rumor out
That's
there?
that's what I'm referring to. But now it seems to hold more water.
The sketch?
Right around the same time, I think. Yeah, like it was all this confusion. I
they
think
were confused about whether or not the two sketches were the same. Were supposed to both be the guy on the bridge walking. Does that make sense?
Yeah. See, when they mentioned it, I always thought they were coming up with this weird theory, right? Like, oh, just because they filmed him, it could have been like a chance encounter, and then somebody else came along and committed the murders, but they just happened to catch this guy on the bridge. But really, what was going on was people were trying to tell us that this Richard Allen guy actually did come forward early on in the case, and they didn't press him for whatever reason. That would be
interesting.
I just want to 1 second, you guys. Hi, Gray. I know that you're my long lost love, but I just want to make sure that I acknowledge you. So hi, Gray. I only because I seen him in the chat there. He loves me. He knows it. He loves me.
Uh-oh. Hi, Gray.
I'm gonna say that's probably not the real Gray.
Well, the real Gray police down.
It is.
It is.
Is that really Gray?
I just happened to look over.
No. If it's really Gray Hughes, come join us.
I'm curious about like the religious part of.
He's going to join you.
Well, he did live by the Methodist Church.
How much they pushed, like, I saw today that like Mark 4:22 is what's in the darkness will come to light, and the new presser was held on 4/22, 2019. Yeah. And it's like they were really trying to leverage a religious aspect to catching this guy,
or the family of the suspect, even maybe.
It's
I'm just gonna wait for Tuesday. I'm just waiting for Tuesday.
Do you think? Let me ask you this, Hoosier, while I got you here. Do you think that the 2019 new direction presser was pointed at this man, Richard Allen?
I don't
directly.
No, I don't.
You just think the profile was good?
I think they were trying to press someone they thought might be the killer and wasn't. I don't think the young guy sketch was even Anthony Schatz at all. Captain and I argue about that all the time, but I just don't. I don't.
But they basically said that's not the case. Hasn't the guy who made the sketch came out and said that, didn't he?
Well, but then Kelsey said she was told that it was from new technology. So which is it? Yeah, Master Sergeant Taylor Bryant said he drew it a couple days. But here's the thing, like what they're telling the public, they're trying to catch this guy. They're not trying to give us good information.
They're using
They don't give a shit about us. Exactly, Sleuth. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I'd usually just tend to lean towards things like miscommunication and, like a message got weird somewhere between people, kind of like telephone game.
I don't think Carroll County is like mine hunters though either. So
I know either.
We have to balance things here too. So I don't know.
I don't even think that in the press conferences, I think like they had the basic message. I think they think about that and they make a plan. But I know a lot of people think that like every single word they've thought about and crafted, and I don't believe that's true at all. And I think that's where a lot of the issues come from. is they don't think enough about it.
I would hate for this to be like it's only being covered because they had the killer this whole time and they just don't want to admit it or something, or but that's the thing is nothing about solving murders is easy, and just because they've gotten millions of tips and they were all wrong except for this one dude, or like Don Toridi, I never pronounced her name correctly and I'm sorry, Don, but she said she thought it was Richard Allen like 2 years ago. And there were people out there just scouring the Delphi members, or people that live in Delphi. And they were, I mean, of course, somebody would get kind of lucky or have some things, but like.
There was somebody else who said that, and they showed us. I mean, I guess anything can be photoshopped, but it looked believable. They showed a screenshot from their Facebook, and it had his name, but they said, like, I came across the name, but I never deep dived it. It was one of those things that you see them, but they don't look that suspicious compared to other people.
I tipped in 2017. I showed my friends on the panel that dude's name was Matthew Allen, that I went to high school with. So, like, I guess I'm psychic. No.
Close, right? So close.
I'm just a little bit off. I missed the Richard. I missed the dick, right?
Yeah. Horseshoe wasn't quite close enough.
Right.
But no, yeah.
We have a question. Thank you, JSD. What do you think about the new Doug Carter interview with WIBC Harrison and Nigel? Did you guys listen to that at the radio?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was good.
Yeah.
I did hear it. I thought he was pretty
That's the tentacle.
straightforward and
The
honest
tentacle, yeah.
in his verbiage. I think it was the most honest and open that I've heard, and not scripted.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was listening to
wondered
some
what you
details
all
about
thought.
it, and he had said that he knew them, or like he's friends with them or something like that. I don't know, but I thought it was a good. He seemed more relaxed to me, but
Yes.
the tentacle thing was, I don't know. It's like we'll see what plays out.
Do you guys think there's more people involved in the killings, or just tertiary to the CSAM stuff?
I think Kagan's involved. I think he's that tentacle, or somebody. A tentacle leads to somebody, and then from there's another tentacle or something along. There's a connection there.
I think there's a few tentacles myself. Yeah. Testicles or tentacles.
I had a theory, and I'm not saying it's likely. It was just something that popped in my head. You know how we're on here, like, people in the chat, they know who I am as Ivy Rose. I'm this person online, but they don't know my identity, like my real life identity. What if there was a group, or maybe just a couple of people who use the Dropbox, or who were like into that CSAM stuff, and they knew each other like that, but they didn't necessarily know the person's real life identity. So then when Keegan was in jail, they were questioning him. He was denying it. Eventually he told them what he knew, sent them on that search for the river. They found stuff, but Keegan didn't know the guy's real life identity. And then the police had to go back and figure out that, like, who is the identity of the person that Keegan says he was talking to about this. And that's when they went back and found Richard Allen, and that's how they came to it themselves.
Like on a device?
I don't know how.
I think they did find a
last
device. If they found a device in the river, even if Kagan
That's
didn't
true.
know Richard Allen by name, they would have GPS location, stuff like that attached to photos, attached to communications that might have led, maybe not directly to him, but maybe like pointed at him in some way.
I think it would be interesting. There's some way, because it's, from what they say, it sounds like they came across his name when they started looking at things, but then at the same time, it sounds like at least Kagan is involved in some way. But how do you put those together?
I say the timing, them admitting that he was responsible for the search and also during questioning with Delphi, and they didn't charge him for that. To me, that's an indication that we'll find his name on Tuesday, somewhere in those documents.
Klein's, Kagan's. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Kagan Klein. We'll find his name somewhere in there, and I think the search. To me, it looks like dominoes. Like you can just see them falling one after the other.
Yeah, I agree.
Hopefully, it's not super redacted. I mean,
That's what
you
I
know.
was worried about. How much do
Probably.
you think will be redacted? A lot.
I'm thinking a lot.
Oh,
Yeah. I definitely think there will be. Just think about all that was blocked, what we've seen blocked so far. Like,
And then somebody's going to leak the original, of course, which always happens.
Like Kagan Klein's was sealed either the day before he was arrested or the day he was arrested, and then it was unsealed a day or two later. But it was still super redacted. But the stuff that was redacted was, in my opinion, related. The information that says it was related to Abby and Libby's case, but then also the messages of him talking with those girls who they're claiming are underage. So that makes sense that would be redacted. So hopefully,
Yeah, I have a feeling
those
this
types
one
of
might not be
things-
redacted at all. I don't think there's anything in there to redact.
That's what I'm hoping.
That's what Adam
It might
was
just
saying.
be all like, yeah, it might just be like common information like, oh, such and such led us here to Allen while we were there. We did this, and then we found a list of such and such, and we placed, we were able to place them under arrest.
I agree with Gray on that. What I'm just looking at.
yeah.
I mean,
I could see
honestly, it's like boom, 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 like dominoes, like that. Like I said, everything's just going.
If they didn't find anything, they exhausted their time with Kegan, and they're like, well, let's just go back to the beginning. So that comment can actually be taken two different ways.
He's
Which
in
they
negotiations.
said they've done before. Like, I can't remember. I think it was Carter who had said that. Like, going back to the beginning about bringing in new people.
60 to 80, yeah.
They've done that several different times, but I think
Yep,
Hagen
cold case.
to looking back through the files. Yeah.
Yes, and I think Gray brought up a good point in there. It's like the dominoes effect. It started, and then they were like, wait a minute, we need to go back and look at this now. We need to go. So I do agree with that.
Well, yeah. Like Carter said, he was going to bring in 60, 80 more people. But he was on vacay. I don't think that this was just, we knew about him all along. This was like boom, boom, boom. Search, freaking arrest, blah, blah. There's something. I'm waiting for Tuesday. That's all I can say. I'm waiting for Tuesday.
What about what Kim, Sonny, what about what Kim Riley said? I think he was interviewed maybe by Barb McDonald. He was in his, he was dressed down. He wasn't in uniform, and he was talking a lot about the search and how the search was tainted, and there was just it was just a mess, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, have we confirmed whether or not this guy wasn't part of the search? Because if he's talking to a conservation officer on the 13th, did he ever leave the scene? Did he linger about? Did he sneak out amongst the crowd?
No, it's a question. Not like personally. If I'm looking back at interviews and they're outside, I'm just looking to see if I can see him. I thought I seen him once, but it wasn't him because one of the many Jennies I know sent me a picture of a close up, and I was like, oh, okay, that's not him. But it looks he was hiding in the crowd. So I honestly don't know the answer to that myself, Sleuth, because I'm curious to find out if he did participate myself. And
the original report. The original report says that he made the interaction with the conservation officer happen on the 13th. So why would he be having this interaction on the day they went missing? Was he part of the search?
Well,
That was my question.
it wouldn't shock me if he was, to be honest.
Has
Remind me where
anybody
that
been
came
able
from?
to confirm if he was part of the search
No.
team?
He didn't sign in, but
Okay.
Remind me where the him talking to that guy and saying that he was out on the bridge. Where did that come from?
The police source.
the police source.
Was it in a
Well,
news article?
originally
Go
it
ahead.
was posted on Reddit is when I first seen it. And I was like, okay, this is very interesting, but it's just speculation. And then
Right.
Fox 59 put out a report stating that law enforcement
On
had
Wish as
confirmed.
well.
Yeah, and
Did
they
you have a
actually
report there?
added some more details.
Okay,
So
so
I mean,
that's
it's a
like a pretty
fact. It's
legit.
factual information. Yep.
Told a state conservation officer he was
Interesting.
in the area on the day of the killings, but his report may have been considered unfounded, a police source tells I-Team 8. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, U.S. Marshals do electronics, and they specialize in cyber.
Correct.
So, I mean, the heavy presence of the Marshals recently, yeah, maybe they did find a phone or something in the river. Or
does anybody know what Kathy does?
His wife?
Kathy, no, now I forgot her last name.
Kathy Allen?
No, he mentioned, I think her name was Kathy. Let me pull up the he thanked Doug Carter. He thanked her like personally during his speech. I just didn't know if anybody knew what her role was. He said your incredible attention to detail.
Is it the reporter that found Kagan Klein initially?
No, she was on the stage.
What is
I know who you're referring to, but I missed it.
Same.
Let me look at the name. I can't.
The one that was at the conference. That one?
I didn't want to say the last name, but he did. So
Stroker or something like that. Something weird. It is. It's something weird.
Man, you need to come on our channel for that. The night version.
They need to make this like word search.
Could it be, is it Kathy Guider? I don't know if I'm saying that right. A former supervisory special agent of the FBI?
No, she works for Carroll County.
Okay.
Yeah, don't know the name.
There was the part where he was thanking everybody. He did it a couple different times. Kathy Shank for your incredible attention to detail.
Stroker, Shank, close enough. Whatever.
Something stabby.
Something stabby, yeah.
Oh my god.
Shank, yeah. That's almost no, I don't want to say comical, but like seriously.
Killing me, Smalls. But yeah, I just wondered, like, I wasn't able to find anything, but that doesn't mean anything. Of like what was her role? It doesn't seem that I can find her like as far as working in a lab. I just assumed that she did work in a lab. That's what I meant to say.
Oh, and knew the answers maybe ahead of time. Kept quiet about it.
Well, just like that she worked in like the state police like crime lab, like the actual scientist part. But when I was writing the transcripts out, I was like, well, I don't know. He kind of paused there and he said, you're incredible attention to detail. And so I looked her up and I couldn't find her as far as like working anywhere.
Well, that goes back to her question earlier. I can't remember who asked it, somebody on your panel, but they're asking why didn't they arrest him right away? I think they were maybe waiting for some results, maybe.
Yeah. I would, yeah.
This is from Reddit, so take this with a grain of salt. It's from the Delphi docs, which I feel like they're usually more on track with things. But it says that, I lost my spot. I believe her name is Kathy Shank. When I Googled her, it appears as though she works for DCS or some child protection.
DCS. Yes, that's the one I was thinking of. The one that works for the child protection services that they've had working on the case. Correct. So that's what I thought. Sorry, go ahead, Ivy.
There's a quote too that somebody quoted, and it says, "I'm here to help in any way I can," announced Kathy Shank at the police task force headquarters. She returned home from a vacation Tuesday night and signed up Wednesday morning to run the headquarters reception desk. "I know the family of Liberty and feel like I need to be here," she said. And it also says, this person says I have her as a government relations employee, retired case manager. So maybe she did both. I don't know. Or maybe that's all just a bunch of nonsense. Who knows?
Sorry about that. My phone was ringing. But yeah, so that was, like I said, someone that's been working on the case for about a year or something like that. So her presence there obviously shows that there's an attachment to children, which means to the pedophile side of things.
That's a good point.
The only thing is, maybe it works different there. Sorry, I think my dog's going to bark. So, I don't know how to me, like, yes, CPS works with kids, but
Other
not in
children
the same
would have to
way
be
that,
involved.
like, that CSAM stuff, unless they found CSAM with parents of kids and then they removed the kids because of that. See what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It still doesn't match to me.
Yeah, this is from you guys over in the United States there, that information or whatever, that she works for the child, what's it called? Whatever your
it's different in each state.
Yeah, and that
maybe there was other witnesses, some young girls that we haven't been named, or that they're trying to protect.
It would still have to come, I would imagine, and maybe I'm completely wrong about this, but I would imagine that it still would have to come from, like, an investigation into a child welfare case where they were investigating the parents as being, an okay place for the kids to stay.
Yeah,
which sadly parents do that stuff too.
Her involvement is because of the CSAM case, because that has to do with the children. At least that's what I was told, that she was, because well, I guess I can't say that part. But anyways, so what I was just simply told was that, yeah, she's been working on the case for about a year. She was pulled in by the LE, whatever it is, and because of the CSAM case. So her presence there basically to a lot of people showed an attachment that obviously, because of her presence there, meant that this is tied into the Kagan Klein thing, because hence why she was there, because she's for the CSAM side of things or whatever.
Okay. That makes sense, Sonny. Yeah.
Okay, that's still, I'm going to be skeptical of that, but
it's fine.
I have a tendency to be skeptical of everything, so.
It's all good. Yeah, absolutely. Can't everyone think the same, but yeah, that's just,
yeah.
And maybe it's different in Indiana than in my state too. That could definitely be a thing.
Yeah.
Using the fake shots profile arranged to meet the girls there on that day. I don't think we know yet. I don't think there's like a true or false to that question.
We don't.
Yet.
No, because that
tentacles is a gross word.
The wording was different. Like it wasn't.
I agree, Daisy.
I like that word, tentacles. I like it. I like octopus better. Well, octopussy, yeah, of course, absolutely.
But I mean, octopus
tentacles.
I just don't like the word tentacles. Like it's like, ugh. It's kind of like, I don't know. I'm not going to say the words I don't like out loud. So,
well, am I right? This case broke up one of the largest CSAMs in Indiana.
Yeah.
That's what it says in the Keegan interview transcript.
That's what I thought. And if anything comes out of this, that's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Some of those kids in Indiana are safe now because of that.
One day I want to go over.
I'm such an
advocate. Will let me.
Sorry.
One day I want to go over all the, and I don't even think I have them all. I've got a list of like 20 something CSAM cases in Indiana since like mid 2020, I think. It's a ridiculous amount. And I'm sure there's a lot still out there. Those were just the ones easy to find in Google searches. But that would be interesting to go over one day.
They've been taking them down left and right lately.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You can connect them, or some of them.
Maybe they'll get solved during this whole episode, to be honest, because you can see the consistency of these constant takedowns of Rippy, the Rippy guy, all these people that are involved. You can just see them kind of like a deck of cards, just there's another. That's what it feels like anyway.
Well, and I was going to do some research. I'm going to Gatlinburg for Thanksgiving, and I was going to check out some of their missing kids, girls, just to see if any connections. So it'll be interesting. I wanted to check it out when I went up there.
Yeah.
You never know, I'm sure. And I don't know if you all heard, but there was an error in Tennessee when they posted Abby and Libby's missing poster, or for information. Tennessee put on there was a mistake on the poster, and that they were looking in Tennessee for the person.
I do
remember
vaguely
that.
remember that.
I do remember
Yes.
that.
And
They
so
came out and like did that whole big like, we're sorry, this has nothing to do with, but no one believed them.
exactly. And so I wanted to check that out when I went up there.
Yeah.
Goat. Hey, goat.
Goat dog.
Yeah, I know, but it's like he's exactly saying it because that's what I think of. But then he said it's one of those words like moist. When I think of when someone ever uses that word, I think of Duncan Hines cake, you know, because like on Duncan Hines, it's like moist and delicious. So, you know, but it's one of those words, you know, you hear it. And,
you just can't unhear that.
Yeah. Oh, 1 sec. My husband's coming in. Did I lock the door again? Sorry. Hi, my husband. People are saying hi. Hi. There you go. Okay. What happens is we have 2 entrances to our bathroom. So sometimes I lock it and I forget to unlock it. So he has to come into the bedroom to go unlock it.
Yeah.
My bad.
First time on the live. Really enjoying the conversation. Subscribe. Well, thanks, Miss Dog Lover.
Oh, that's my favorite subscriber, by the way. She said she paid $5 to you to say that. Didn't she? Yeah.
We got another. I did all the CSAM International pedigree ring and did all arrests in Indiana since Kagan's arrest on CSAM. I did a show with all of them identified. Oh, you'll have to send me your channel, JSD. I don't think I've.
Yeah, I would definitely like to watch that.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
for sure.
We all do.
That sounds like a big undertaking. Shoot.
Yes.
I don't know. I did that whole live the other day about, you know, just breaking down why I just keep hanging on to the lone wolf. Like, I don't know why. I've never really had a theory until here lately. And then it was like, I'm so wishy-washy. It's fine though. Like, I'm not meant to have not supposed to have like a POI or whatever. But, yeah, I just, you know, I think if you look at what is out there that is connecting Kagan, and you guys know better than me, but the thing that really kind of started to get me to like was watching CD the other day when he was talking about that radio thing with the word that I don't like, the tentacles. Yeah. Like there might just be a connection, you know, because I don't know, this guy just, if you look at him, he just seems like he struggles to have a friend, let alone a killing buddy. I don't know. It just,
yeah.
But then again, we can all be whatever we want online, and more than likely the connection with them is online, you know, like, I don't know though. You got Peru.
And this slowly seems like they're like painting a picture of him. I keep, today I heard he may have recently been like out of work, going through like a really rough time, had a lot of time to himself. So who knows the kind of shenanigans he's gotten into if he's spending like his savings, you know, going to the bar, meeting new people, hiking alone, you know.
Right. It just seems like, I don't know, he just struggles to talk. It just doesn't seem like he seems like an antisocial type person. It just, but that's
absolutely.
You know anything about the guy, so I don't know why I have this opinion. But
do you mean antisocial, like doesn't like people, or antisocial
like personality disorder? But yeah,
okay, that's
like
what I was trying to figure out
as well. In that, what you're talking.
You would think though that he would have been charged with, or this is just in my opinion, I would think if he was like antisocial or like a conduct disorder type person, that he would have charges for other illegal things, not even necessarily for like murder or a violent crime, but just other breaking the rules type things. But he doesn't have that.
Yeah.
which is one of the biggest signs. So I don't know. It's kind of weird.
I see him as the lure. His whatever it is, I see that side as the lure myself. I don't see him at the bridge, walking his butt down any hill. I don't see him leaving his fridge in his bedroom, really, for the most part. I just see him being the lure part, like the account. That's how I see it. We'll see how it plays out, though. Like I said, Tuesday, hopefully we'll get some answers to that. So I'm just biding my time, really, until we hear, if anything, what's in those documents to give us a little bit more, obviously knowledge of what's going on. Other than that, it's just constant speculation, I guess.
Yeah. It is, which we all just like to do.
Exactly. Why not?
It's just human nature, but
well, I mean, it's what they do sitting around the tables when the police officers are trying to decide how to do a case. They're going to sit there and speculate, like, okay, well, like talk about things. This is exactly what we do here. We talk about things, and then someone maybe says something that makes you go, hey, maybe I didn't think of that. And you go look at something else, and you just try to make your best estimated guess based on what's out there. Really, nothing wrong with that.
If you guys haven't read it yet, on the FBI.gov, it might be on the what's the Justice Department one, the United States Justice. I don't know what it's called exactly, but it's called Reframing the Investigation. It's just like a peer-reviewed article or about what it is and why they reframe investigations around, because they can get tunneled, like a lot of the things you're just talking about right now, with like having a investigator that may have a stronger personality than the others, and they get on a certain track, like they think it is.
I could totally see that happening.
Right. This is so, say like with the Ron Logan stuff, and how they can kind of get into this, like, takes a hard left. The investigation can kind of take a hard left depending on who this person is and how many people that follow them. And it talks a whole thing about this. It's kind of fascinating because it's the same thing that we experience in just our peer groups. You may have someone that has a more dominant personality, and they can lead a lot of people, just because of either out of respect for that person. It's not necessarily a negative. Like, I respect
their
leaders
and followers,
right?
They all have their places.
But yeah, I thought that was kind of an interesting. I read it in 2019, right before the 2019 presser, and just tonight, what you just said, it just kind of reminded me of that. I think it's a good read for kind of understanding how they do investigations. Step by step and at different intervals during the investigation. They actually do go back and just kind of toss everything, bring in new investigators, and they're not given, they're given the, what do they call that? Like they have a name for it, but like the essential things to the case, but they're not given all the opinions.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. And I'm sure that they were doing that at Delphi. I mean, it's been 5.5 years, almost 6.
But do you guys think? Do you think Paul Holes had anything at all to do with looking at files, like people are saying, or you think
that's interesting?
Yeah,
he came into the case in January, is what I heard.
See, I'd be surprised if they didn't let him in. I mean, what did I say?
Well, I would think
surprised if they didn't.
Like a consultant, I'm thinking like, hey, you guys, make sure you cover these bases. Like, make sure you go over everybody that was on the trails. Go back to the beginning. Make sure you re-interview them. That's possible too. But
didn't
honestly,
he say back in the day that he'd love to work with them at CrimeCon a couple years ago?
He did. And he was recently in Delphi.
Yeah.
Maybe they got desperate enough, which sounds terrible. In my opinion, and I say this more from like a YouTube true crime perspective, but I'm sure the same, kind of like Mel was saying, the same problems happen in investigators. But a lot of people make the mistake of taking things personally. Like when you criticize their theory, take it personally, like you're criticizing them. And everybody should be like super happy for anybody to come in and try to debunk them, because that's how you figure things out. That's how science works. You try to debunk theories, and the more people can't debunk it, the stronger that theory is. But if you're all trying to figure out what is accurate instead of trying to be right, then I would love somebody to debunk any theories I have, because that means we're like one step closer to knowing what it is, because now we know that's not it. So I wish more people could be open.
Do you guys kind of feel a little bit blown away that nobody, maybe that one person on 4chan or whatever, but nobody had it right? Like nobody. You know?
No, I've been saying forever that it would be, and I think not just me, a lot of people, that it wouldn't be anybody that people have been talking about, because statistically that's more likely to be the case.
I'm just like, who are you, dude?
Yeah, checking egos is always a good thing, and it's always a hard thing. You know?
Yeah, check your own ego.
Mm-hmm. But like, I don't know if you ever did it, Sleuth, but you were going to the live with the on the Tuesday. You gonna do another live?
Yeah, yep. I'm gonna be live. So if you guys want to jump on, I'm gonna try to link up with Hoosier, and I know Frank's gonna be out there. So if I can get those guys to call in while I'm live, it's gonna make for, we're gonna be able to watch it kind of unfold live. I think it'll be cool to have those guys there and us being able to talk with them.
What time is it?
9.
Should be about 9 Eastern time.
9
I'm going live 10 Eastern time. Maybe go a
Okay.
little bit earlier.
I have to work at 11, but we can do it before then.
Yeah, I know our friends, because we're going live too that morning with Alexa.
Thank you, Sleuth.
But I don't know that anyone's going to be there myself.
I like the coverage, though, especially being out of state. It's nice to have people on the ground.
I think it's going to be a very chaotic day, especially once, because everyone's going to be building up, going like it's going to be just crazy on all channels, pretty much, really, for all the ones that are live. And then if it's actually unsealed, like parts of it, it's just going to be hopefully it's not going to be one of those days, where somebody said that freaking Tony Klein was arrested that day, and then it was like he was buying dog food or something. When
I remember that.
I just think once it's unsealed, it's going to be a very hectic day, because everyone obviously just wants to know what's in that sucker. Hopefully it does open up. I think it will with redactions. But that's what we've been told. But whether that happens is another story.
Well, I think if anything, they're going to go live. You'll start hearing news reporters coming in, and then obviously if like Hoosier Cold Cases is going, him and a few others, like if they're able to get in, then if they get there early enough. But he's actually off at the grocery store.
I was going to say Hoosier. What can be like? Yeah, I'm just going to go stroll.
And the chaotic doesn't talk about Delphi, so there's that. But
it's just a small place, correct? You guys keep saying, like,
Delphi?
I don't know what a house. No, the actual courthouse.
Oh yeah, it's small. Yeah, it's pretty small. It's not as small as some I've seen, but
yeah,
it's pretty small. So you're not talking about some. It's not like the Marion County one or anything close to it. You're talking about a very rural county courthouse. So it's pretty. So
yes,
so
is it? It is.
Yeah, it's relevant, but it's really cute.
Yeah,
I keep forgetting to look myself, but does anybody know if the judge, and I can't even remember her name at the moment, was involved at all with the April Tinsley case?
Gunn
is
her last
name?
Janet?
Because that was a male. That was a man. It was a male.
Maybe not even. I don't know. I was gonna say not as judge, like even in. I don't know how that works. Even in like his office, I had wondered, and maybe it's not, but I had wondered if maybe that's why they picked her, because she had already been even like tangentially involved in a big, murder case.
Yeah.
What's her last name?
Bull, isn't it? Bull?
Gil? Wait.
Fran
gold?
Gold.
Jerry,
You know, Fran, yeah.
Jerry, I agree with you. I
Goal.
think a lot of us are interested
Oh, hey,
in
look
what
who we
they
got
found.
here.
Oh.
The Captain. Howdy. What is
Hello,
up?
hello. How's it going tonight, guys?
Good. How are
What's up,
you?
Captain?
I'm just trying to follow your chat. It's going pretty quick.
It is. It is going real fast.
I stepped
Hello,
away
the
for a minute.
captain.
Hello, everybody. I stepped away for just a minute, and then I came back, and you guys were talking about tentacles. It was, I don't know what's going on, but it got real adult.
Got real adult. Yeah.
So do you guys think it's going to be released on Tuesday? Do you think they're going to actually unredact it?
I do. I
I
fully.
do too.
Just like I mean, for other reasons, I wouldn't mind if it stayed sealed. I just don't think that's going to be the case. I don't know, like we the people. So I do wonder if the petition won't be able to be admitted into or be a part of this court hearing, because it does represent. It's just not an official. It's not. I don't know. I don't see it, but I had heard someone talking about the possibility of it, and so it just was kind of struck me as curious if the petition would be allowed as part of at least a part of the record in the court hearing on Tuesday.
Mm.
The judge is Fran Gold. And from what I read on her background, she is more than capable of handling this case. I'm actually impressed because she has a background in child CSAM. I'm just going to put it that way to keep it safe. She's done several cases like that. I checked her out pretty good. And I think she's going to do a great job with this case. I really do. And I think she's going to be fair and go by the law.
Yeah, I haven't heard anybody be critical about her. She sounds good. So there's going to be like a public hearing. Does that just mean that the prosecutor and maybe the defense attorney talk to the judge about it? Or does that mean that like members of the public can like sign up or get in line or however it would work to like argue
all
themselves?
of the above. Yeah, I think it's open.
Yeah, the courts are open to the public, so it doesn't say it's a closed hearing or anything.
There's rules, lots of rules though.
Yeah,
I feel that some of those rules were put in place because it is CSAM, and I think ISP, in my opinion only, I don't know how the panel feels about this, but in my opinion, when you're dealing with children and underage, they don't have to release the death, the cause of death. They don't have to release any of that because they're minors and they're protected. And I also think that the reason ISP kept such a close vest on this, number one, they didn't know exactly what they were dealing with in the beginning, but once everything started falling out, the domino effect, it became even more apparent that there were minors involved. And I wonder if that is some of the reason that a lot of this has not been released. That's just my personal opinion. I could be very wrong.
That's an interesting take. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
That's just from what I do in my career. It is, they're very protected, 18 and under.
Yeah.
And
hey, Mel.
They're the perpetrator.
Hey, Mel, I'm going to hop off because I just want an hour sleep before our live. So I was going to go get into a little nap. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Did Chaotic even speak over there? I don't even know that I heard.
Well,
is she going to say hi, or maybe she's There she
Anyways, take care. Have a good night. I'll see you guys later.
Later, Sonny.
Bye.
See you later.
Take care.
For coming.
I mean,
Bye.
what do you all think about that take?
I
on
have a question related to that a little bit.
Okay.
So like, I know it's a different state, and I didn't follow the Chris Watts thing very closely, but he pled, right? He took a plea deal,
He
Yes.
did.
and so that, but then what was the reason that like the information didn't come out, but then it did come out with them about the kids and all that? Or am I
I
misremembering?
think it was just part of the investigation. But
Maybe they
I
took
think,
the death penalty off the table if he was going to tell them like the specifics, maybe.
okay.
I thought I must be misremembering them, because I thought there was something that made it where like that information hadn't been released to the public, and then something happened. I was going to say like he appealed, but that doesn't make sense if he took a plea deal. So, and that's why it ended up coming out. I don't know. Is there, I guess the reason I asked that, in case I'm misremembering it, is if, say, Richard Allen takes a plea and it doesn't go to trial, could it be that that information never comes out?
Yeah.
Right, because they may tell the families, but 18 and under, they're protected by a different law. And
Well,
it's
Richard
one-
Allen, but
it's, yeah.
That would turn
Well,
into a shit show if
it's
that
all going to
happened.
come out. It's all going to come out in the courtroom. So everything's
Right.
going to be,
I mean,
nothing's
in
going to
the
be
courtroom,
redacted in the
it wouldn't
courtroom.
there's
come out.
people
but
that are there's like
are gonna be
reporters
recording,
and media present in the
Mhm.
courtroom. Then obviously, they can't record or anything, but they can have a notebook and they can.
Well, I
take
mean, like,
notes.
what if he took a plea
Recorder.
and it didn't go to trial?
But
like,
if
is that-
We,
would
yeah,
it
like
still-
then it is, they are protected under that law.
I guess they still have to kind of explain to the judge in court what happened when they take a plea, don't they?
usually the person on trial would plead to, but not always. So that is another thing that it could definitely happen. You know, of not
Yeah,
hearing
they're going to
any.
consider it, I think, don't you? Like, maybe they'll consult with the family. What is your opinion? You know, consult with prosecution. What is your opinion?
Yes.
Do you guys want to save the taxpayer money? Do you want to give them the option to come clean with everything? We won't give them the death penalty, life, you know,
Right.
without parole. Like something, I think they will consider those things, right?
Right.
Yes.
And at time of death, they were both minors, which
Yeah.
means it is protected under that law. So if the family is okay with the cause of death being out there, then the public would have access to that. But
Yeah.
if the family says, no, we don't want to release that, then it
Yeah.
is, they are protected because they are minors. That's the different thing. If they were adults, we wouldn't have this problem. But there is a law that protects them. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a federal law. And I'll have to find it. But I work with children, and it is a federal law that if the family does not want the cause of death released, they have that right to hold it. So maybe they redact that part of the information in the paperwork coming out. But yes, in court, obviously everything comes out. But that's in a court of law with the judge there.
It's so hard to put yourself in that position. I don't know what I would want if it were my child.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just children are protected way more.
Yeah, they
and
are,
I know that we don't see that in some of these cases, but that's because the family's okay with it being out and released. But if they are not if they don't release that and the family says, no, we don't want the autopsies released, the family has that right because they were minors at the time that they were killed.
I wonder what happened with John Bonet to have all that come out with pictures and everything.
Right. Well, that's
crazy.
Yeah, that was
we
a
don't want
mess.
to hear my
was a
thing on that.
mess.
But yeah.
That was definitely a mess.
Yeah.
And then did you, well, it was in 2018, but I just recently watched that Casey Anthony one. And that really, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it was on Prime, the Casey Anthony. Like, it was by, looks like we lost Sleuth. What was the name of that?
I lived here, and
Laura Richards and Billy Jensen. They did an excellent job, but man, it really freaked me out for just like when you go to think about all that. And I'm not just saying this because of Delphi, you know, of like any kind of what I consider corruption or anything like that, of just like, as far as just the case goes, just any kind of court case, and how many different things can go wrong. And like, it really kind of freaked me out. But the state did not prove their case, plain and simple, with the Casey Anthony, Kaylee Anthony murder trial. They just didn't. Yeah, well, she says a lot, but she's a liar. So
she lies about everything.
Oh, yeah.
I was here when that whole case was going on, and I walked from the Casey Anthony home to where they found that little girl's body. And I walked into the woods, and I will tell you, 15 houses down, an elementary school right across the street. Right across the street. And
I was baffled by the fact that the was it a construction worker or worked for the city of some sort, like sanitation or maybe something like that, had found her body and called them like 3 different times in August, and then finally like insistently said, okay, like, you're going to go there in 5 months later, 5-6 months later, and that's when they found her body finally. But that was crazy.
I will tell you, the media was living on that street. They had bright lights on the Anthony home, and to be there when that was going on was insane. I can't even imagine, number one, losing a child or grandchild, and then having to deal with the media on top of everything else. And that little girl did not get justice.
No.
I mean, who is going to take her and bury her 15 houses away?
She wasn't even buried. She was in a trash bag. Just
somebody in that house.
Coldly. It's very cold.
This may be an unpopular opinion, but even though overall justice was not served in that case, in my opinion, I think that the justice system worked how it should have, in that the prosecution didn't make a good case. So even though maybe we know that she's guilty, like, that's how the system's supposed to work. If they can't prove without a shadow of a doubt that the person did it, then they're not guilty. And that's how it should work.
They did not prove
that. Is our justice system working in accordance with the law?
And the thing with Casey, in my opinion, was they were not able to prove how that little girl died. And the prosecution was not able to say, this is how she died. And it left out. And so in that case, the jury did what they were supposed to do. It's not the outcome we all wanted, but it was they could not prove it.
Nope.
I can't believe she's still here in Florida. Even
but there were some mistakes that were pretty big that, like, I just don't feel like McLeland is going to make them, though. I think that he's too on top of everything, and he's been, involved from the very beginning. If you go back to, I don't know if it was, I think it was maybe the 2018 or was it 2020? It might have even been 2019, because it was in February of 2019 when McLeland had the presser. Is that correct, you guys? Do you know? It might be 2018, 2019. But he had said that he has been working on this case every day for this whole entire time, every single day. Like that, he doesn't strike me as the type to exaggerate or lie. So you got to think like the prosecutor's office and the prosecutor's investigator has put in just as much time as anyone, if not more, up until this point. And I think a lot of people are kind of worried about, there's a difference between a courtroom literally trying a murder case in the court of law versus studying it. But I don't know. I just think that maybe it's his hair, but I just think that he's going to do a great job. I really do. I mean, I was joking about the hair, but I think he's going to do an excellent job.
He seems very patient, and I think that's going to help him a lot here, which is
Right?
interesting because, I mean, they've been so incredibly patient leading into this for them to
They
have made
really
an
have.
arrest. I think that they have something very serious on Richard Allen, and so he doesn't know what that evidence against him is. I mean, I'm sure in the back of his mind he knows, but if it's something like DNA, I mean, we might actually get to see something like a plea bargain.
Sorry.
Do you guys think, like, let's say it goes to trial and he is found guilty, do you guys think that the death penalty will probably be used? Like, they have it, but they haven't done it in so long. Like, even if he does get death, does that really mean death? I know that was a few questions wrapped up into one.
Well, and a lot of times, like you want to go for, because the death penalty in Indiana, like it'll be what do they call that? Where he will submit that to the courts, like the judge. It will be like McLeland. I'm speaking of. He will submit that to the courts as seeking the death penalty. So it wouldn't be charged. We don't have some other states have, murder one is considered capital or capital murder, but in Indiana it's just literally murder. That's what it's called. But the prosecutor, and this is the same in other states as well, the prosecutor will seek the death penalty. So he will put the court on notice that he is going to be seeking the death penalty. And that's before trial or any kind of jury is picked or anything. And then the jury will actually, that is a separate, so they will find him guilty or not guilty. And then say they find him guilty, then the jury will have two separate, if I'm reading it correctly, the jury would have two separate decisions to make. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, for a death penalty case in Indiana, don't you have to show that there was another crime being committed? It can't just be straight murder. I think that has to be in the commission of another felony happening, which is why I think that they added the murder too.
Yeah, like the aggravating circumstances. They need to prove one aggravating circumstance in order for it to qualify for the death penalty.
I don't think they're going to have a hard time doing that.
No. But a lot of times, like the prosecutor in Newton County did that. Like, we're seeking the death penalty, even though everybody knew they weren't going to seek the death penalty. They were just trying to scare. And that's just a tactic of trial court lawyers, prosecutors to do that. But it also is. I can't say it's not favorable to the families, as long as because so much of the time they just don't realize, families of victims don't realize what it's like to really be in to have a death penalty case, and the burden of proof, not just the burden of proof, but also just the appeals process and the amount of time and the amount of cases, especially in a state like Indiana. Now, if we were in Texas, that's a whole nother bag of burritos, but we're not. And but in Indiana,
I just had a burrito.
they're so good, but in a bag's even better. But anyway, it's in Indiana. I think there's only been, since the repeal was overturned in 78. I think. Oh my gosh, I want to say 18 off the top of my head, but I'm gonna have to look that up again. that we've executed 18 people, in states where they make a statement by how many people that they put to death. That's different, but here it does, they get what is that called? Now it's like escaping my head. Commuted down to life without the possibility.
Extradited. Sorry.
Is it extradited?
I was like, I know, I'll guess.
I think it's commuted. Muted down to life without parole.
Yeah, I'm
still looking
confident.
forward to the trivia. Sorry.
No, I have trivia. You want to do some trivia, you guys?
I can do it for a little bit. I got to step out here in a minute, but I'll be back in a little bit.
Okay. All right. But
let's do it.
Okay. Who is going to hold down my show while I go to the restroom? Because I'm going to pee my pants if I don't go right now. So
I can help.
Want to do it.
Sleuth is there. He's good too.
The captain left, so not him.
Oh, he just totally bailed out when I said I had to go pee. Look at you, buddy.
Sleuth and Crimezilla will hold it down for you.
Joining forces.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much for holding it down.
No problem.
Yeah, so I keep hearing rumors of a giveaway. Did you hear anything about that?
Only if I get something.
I know. That's what I'm talking about.
That's right. I'm glad I'm finally live with you. I come into your chat. So good to meet you.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really nice to meet you. Likewise.
Yeah. I'm pretty easygoing. Right, Ivy Rose?
Yes. I'm trying to, I think I have the right email for Mel. Somebody was asking about it in the chat. Hopefully.
Yes. We're looking for JSD. And JSD, we definitely would like to get your link. I would like to watch that video too. I know several of us, I do. And Sleuth, great job on your channel, by the way.
Thank you. That means a lot. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I was on YouTube and did, I usually did children cases, but I'll say it live, I don't mind now. But I got doxxed pretty bad.
That's awful.
At my job. And so I left YouTube, but I've been in the background. And I've been on Delphi since the very beginning. So
what are your thoughts with all this, with Richard Allen?
I'm glad that they found him. And to be honest, when I first heard it, I actually thought, okay, Carter's getting ready to retire. And they were just trying to find a scapegoat. To be honest.
That was your initial thought?
That was my initial thought. But that's because over the years, there's been so many that they thought were that person on the bridge.
Like so many letdowns?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just being honest.
Me too, to an extent.
I have to argue with part of that because you know how I am.
I love you, Ivy. Argue with me, Ivy.
Sorry, you guys
probably lost another.
The only part that I have to argue with, because I think that's a totally valid belief, is that we, as the public, have had a lot of people that we thought were, as a whole, thought were the guy on the bridge, but we don't have any idea who they have thought was the guy, or if they've even been that close to thinking somebody was the guy.
True.
Besides maybe Ron Logan.
Very true.
I think this isn't really related to that, but I tend to think that, and I could be totally wrong, I don't even really have any evidence to back this up, but I feel like either the county, I tend to lean more towards Indiana State Police as a whole, have a tendency to just be very secretive in general, no matter what the case is.
Yeah.
And that's part, so like part of it is like, and I don't want to say it's not legit, but I think they just have a tendency to that. Plus there's, you know, the stuff that we have in this case. So that builds on that, but I don't know. I think they're more likely than maybe some other states to keep it under wraps.
There was a case in Mooresville where, I mean, it was a pretty
Is
prominent.
that Indiana?
Yeah, Mooresville, Indiana. The name of that girl. It's just, everything's just gone tonight.
Is that the place where that cop got, like, a bunch of people had their cases overturned because that cop lied in affidavits?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
Never mind. You're talking about Greeno's lies. No,
there was an actual
murder. Oh, okay. Well, this was like a murder trial where the PC was locked down. And it's in the appeals process, and there was a lot of information, not just the PC, but a lot was locked down in it, and it's made it through a guilty verdict and at least one, I think 2 appeals, because the post-conviction relief is just another form of an appeal. But yeah, so it's made it through at least 1, but I think 2, because the post-conviction relief usually comes after the first direct appeal, I think is what it's called. And that literally, the judge, as soon as he reads off the sentence and sentences the person, then the defense attorney and the person on trial is asked, you know, you have this amount of time to get your first direct appeal on you know, in the court system. But yeah, that case literally, you know, so it's not unheard of, but it is rare. I don't know.
You just made me remember what I was thinking earlier when I was talking about like appeals and plea deals and all that, and if that affects the information that comes out. So here's where that came from, and it may make the stuff I said earlier not make any sense. But the thing I was thinking about was, even though like you can go in person to court to like the trial and whatnot, you can get that information that way, but they don't release it to the public. Where once they go to appeal, that's when you can get that information, like all the transcripts and stuff from the original trial. Isn't that how it works? That's what I was thinking of, but I don't think that applies here yet.
Yeah, I love Justia. Like,
yes.
I love reading Justia, and obviously like watching Law and Crime. They have a lot of, like, I watched a lot of the Darrell Brooks trial. Oh man, and the sentencing.
that
woman was a saint. Oh my gosh,
she really was. But I mean, you could tell, like, these judges, they know, and I am, you know, and that's why I'm not upset that Judge Diner, or Diener, however you say that, recused himself. You know, I think that there was already, like, he was already kind of questioning his own decision as far as the probable cause goes. So it's like, man, and that could just be humility. You know, a humble judge does not, you know, is the best thing that you want. Judge Daniel, like, Moulter in Newton County, he was so humble, but he was also knew the law backwards and forwards. And I think that recusing yourself before we go any further was probably the best thing that could have happened, you know. And like, he probably knew. He was probably, because there are other judges in Carroll County. Troy Hawkins, for one. I don't know as far as that would preside over a murder trial, but I think it bodes well for this case to have a good judge, you know, and I think that the one they have is going to be a good one.
I agree with that, Mel. I think that he made the right choice. And we don't know. I mean, I know that when he recused himself, he put some of the crazy media, but not quite like that. But
the bloodlust.
Thank you. I needed that.
I couldn't remember
the word.
Right. If he can't take it now, like,
right,
it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better. It's not
I
like
always
this.
had a feeling like he knew somebody, maybe he didn't really know any of the details, but maybe a name that was mentioned, he just might have known, and he's like, well, I obviously can't be part of this because some questions are going to come up, and I actually know this person, maybe through a third party, but I still know them. I need to recuse myself, and I'll just blame it on something, random.
And that's what I thought too, because Delphi is a small community.
Yeah.
And it is possible.
Carol, you're killing me. Objection, grounds. He just kept saying that over and over again. As soon as the prosecutor would like object, he just started, before the prosecutor could get anything out, he would be like, grounds. Just the whole time.
That was
kept interrupting the whole proceeding with grounds, just the word grounds over and over again.
I don't even know how that judge made it through it. She was a saint. She was.
I didn't
Absolutely.
like watch all of it, but my favorite part of the little bit that I did watch, and I can't remember the exact wording she used, but she basically told him when he was playing dumb over something about consent, like consent to leave or stay or whatever. She was like, I heard you make this argument earlier, and if you can understand that, then you understand this. So like, don't play dumb. That was my favorite part, besides his general craziness.
He was.
Good night, Professor Pug. Thank you for being here.
With my background being behavior, he drove me crazy. It was all behavior. It was what we call junk behavior.
Yeah, if there ever was a personality disorder,
that's all it was for him.
But
In
I mean,
my
he was
opinion,
sentenced
I'll
to
put that
6 life sentences, plus like 200 and some odd years. And I thought that the judge in that case did a great job, because she read off she charged, even though it was over the top, like those 200 and some odd years were 17 years per victim that survived. And I thought that was amazing. Like she did an exceptional job in that jury.
She did. I agree.
I love watching. I think that's where we can learn the most about, like we are true crime creators. So like watching jury trials in their entirety is the best way to learn. At least for me. I like to read them. Justy is awesome for reading.
Well, I think lawyers actually have to go and do that for a certain amount of time to like actually pass the bar. I think it's expected of them. You have to spend a certain amount of hours just observing court and the process.
Yeah, which, and I think they do. Don't they do an internship too, in person? Right.
I believe so.
I'm sure they do.
What do we know about the attorneys for?
I saw there was 2 names. I didn't know that was normal, and I didn't look it up myself, but I saw somebody like they cited. Oh, I guess there's like a list for all the public attorneys for Indiana, and they were both on that list.
Well, they explained it today. They explained one was like the court-appointed attorney, and the next in line was the second. It was just random, but the court would be paying for that one directly in a different way than the first one would be, or something along those lines.
So kind of like a backup?
Different titles.
Huh. I'll have to go look at that. That's interesting.
And I really do think that they want to make sure that they can't come back and appeal it.
Yes.
Yeah, he needs 2 attorneys for sure, right?
Yeah.
Are they death penalty certified? Or like qualified?
They said they weren't picked by qualifications, that it's kind of like it's a random thing apparently, and that anybody that's on that list will be considered already like more than capable.
Yeah.
That's what they said on news today. They had some expert on there and she was kind of explaining it, and that's the best I can remember of that.
Yeah, I was
for the show
earlier. I know that you talked about it. I just couldn't remember if that said they were death penalty qualified or not. Hopefully,
death penalty qualified. I don't know. I have a question for you guys, though.
I don't even know if they are.
What do you think it means, if anything, maybe it doesn't mean anything, that he thought he was going to be able to pay for an attorney? And I guess that also would include that his wife was going to give him their money. Like, I feel like as an adult, I would know that, like, yes, I can pay my bills now, but if I'm not working and I'm in jail, that's not going to last very long. And attorneys are very expensive, even though I've never been involved in like the court system. So it felt really naive to me for him
Well,
to
to me,
think
it signaled
that.
a severing of the ties. I think the family was
That
like, "Oh my
too.
God, we're done with you. We're going to go ahead and secure all of the money because you're not getting any of this. You're on your own, buddy."
Yeah, because he would have drained them.
Yes. And just so everybody knows, innocent until proven guilty. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just making that statement.
Alleged.
I thought it was, but I also kind of wonder, like, and I guess we learned watching this, like, how does it work when you're charged with a big crime like that? And normally
Right, Wes?
you wouldn't be eligible for a court appointed because of like the amount you make, but because you're in jail now, you don't have, your job. So, like, do they usually have to wait like that, or do they just kind of consider that? I don't know. It probably doesn't matter, but I was just curious.
I don't know.
The weird things your brain does.
Was that on your Sleuth where it was talking about how little the public defenders actually make?
Yeah, they were saying something like if it was to be a death penalty case, they would end up making like less than $5 an hour, or roughly $5 and some change.
That's
Wow.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that little, but I've always heard that they don't make hardly anything, which makes me wonder why attorneys who like are well into their career are still public.
They have to. I think in some states you have to sign up for the program. It's kind of like your pro bono. I think you have to when your name is called, I believe.
Oh, wow.
I know some around here that's all they do, and maybe they get paid more than like ones that are on the list, and it only comes up every once in a while. But can you imagine like being unlucky enough to get your name pulled for him? Be like, damn it, how did this happen?
Yeah, I mean, it could be a win, if you will.
So, Mel, can I ask a question of people in the chat?
Absolutely.
Goat Dog brought up a really good point. I personally think RA, hold on just a second, sorry, my screen's moving. I personally think RA will plead guilty if they will take the death penalty off the table, and I think that they should see if the family's okay with that. Now, here's my other side of that. I think it brings up a really good point. The families want to know what happened. And the public kind of, in this case, really wants to know what happened that day. Do you think what do you think? Ivy, help me. You always help me. What do you think the
balance between what the public and the family is owed versus justice?
Right. Do you think that it is something that they could work out where at least the families have that closure?
I think they tell the families. I don't think they tell the public necessarily, but I think they tell the families. That's like a closure type thing, I would imagine.
That's what I was wondering. I mean, because it is possible that he pleads guilty to avoid this huge case. And do you think RA will give up sources?
It just depends. I mean, it depends on his, like, there's a lot of personality factors that play into them accepting a plea, and like Israel Keys, like he took a plea to save his family. I mean, that's what he said anyway. I think
same with Ridgway.
Ridgway, yeah, he was the same. And BTK, I think he did it for more selfish reasons. If you watch when he actually got to talk about what he did, he was in heaven, which is disgusting but true. You know, so sometimes they will take a plea, obviously to avoid the death penalty, but also to spare, like they will. I take that back. I mean, I meant to say like they will tell what they did and to investigators and to the family to get the death penalty taken off the table, but as a part of their plea deal. But their motivations, you know, I don't know. I just don't. It just depends on their personality, you know, whether like you have a Darrell Brooks or you have a Gary Ridgway or Israel Keys, because I think that he was the one that was like pretty genuine. He also totally loved holding the stuff over the law enforcement, just like Ted Bundy did. But Ed Kemper, same kind of thing. They wanted to talk about themselves and what they did. I mean, hell, he turned himself in just so he could.
Well, the prosecution also doesn't have to give the option of that,
Right?
which this is totally my opinion, but I kind of wonder if they were holding off on giving Kagan a plea and forcing. Oh, it's a pepper.
Oh my goodness! Hello, friend.
Hello. Oh boy, you gonna give hugs?
That's nice. Look at his face. I love the half face.
Oh, he's beautiful.
He doesn't want to. Look, come on. You want to show him your two-face, your two-tone face? He's gone.
Says no.
Like, you're not gonna make me do anything.
I kind of wonder though if they were trying to force Kagan into telling them something by forcing him, by at least making him think that they were going to force him to go to trial. Yeah. And he didn't want to. So that's why he maybe gave the information. I don't know. But the prosecution doesn't have to get the option for a plea if they don't want to.
Mm-mm. And I haven't looked in his. I heard that the last I looked, the defense attorney had said we're still in negotiations with the prosecutor. Is there any updates past that? I know they scheduled another trial for Kagan, but
I don't know. But I have a question about that. I'm glad you brought it up. I know that 5 counts got dismissed, but I heard somewhere else that they were potentially modifying some of the other counts. Do you know if that's true?
I looked into those, and I mean they were just like, one of them was a felony 4 and the others were all felony like 6s, or no, one was a felony 5 and the other 4 were felony 6s. So they were like the least. I think felony 6 in Indiana is the typical sentence is like a year. In a felony 5, it's 3 years. So you're not talking about like when you're stacked up against 77 years of prison and you take off 7, like who cares?
Well, I just heard that they were potentially modifying some in addition to the dismissing those 5. I didn't know if that was true, but I have a feeling the ones they dismissed, it was because they couldn't 100% prove the age of the girl in the pictures. That's just my guess, though.
The chat's asking me what I told him I'm going to have to explain the monster part, because he ate a can of Monster when he was just a little guy, and he survived. So he's pretty badass. But we had a special guest appearance by my dog Chase Monster.
Nice.
Yeah, he jumped on here.
Did we lose Sleuth again?
I think so. Looks like it. And Chaotic and Captain. And nobody said goodbye except for Sunny.
Rude.
I know.
Rude.
Well, see you. See you, Sleuth. Thanks for coming on. Say bye next time.
Well, they saw I came back, so.
That's it. Are you coming back? You could go back? Come on. Come on. Show him your face.
What's up, Danger Dave? Have a good night, Sleuth.
Show him your face. not gonna
My
look.
goodness, he's adorable, Mel.
Yeah. Hey,
Oh,
Hey, Lips.
I'm trying to see it.
Chris.
He's a good boy. He's not super bright, but it's okay.
Lips, we have secret club meeting in a little bit. Hope to see you
Yes,
there.
we do. Yeah, we got about 20 more minutes. And then
Yeah.
Hoosier Cold Cases is having his very first
yay!
members only live. I'm pumped. Who's gonna be there? Thanks, Lips. He is.
I am.
I know. Me and you are gonna be there.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
There was apparently like a week ago or something. Here in Lafayette, there was a woman that was found on fire. So apparently she had left on foot a hotel that was like miles away from where she was found in the morning on fire. And people stopped and like threw water on her and then got her medical help. And she ended up passing away in the hospital. But it's a really weird mystery. And that's big in our news right now.
I was looking at the Iowa or
Idaho.
It's crazy.
Idaho, yeah. And then I wanted to ask Incog about the cases of the cemetery killer out there her way.
What is
That's
that?
too.
I haven't heard of that.
And like, was it 3 murders where the body was left in a cemetery?
Really?
Or small town. Or small hometown.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's kind of bizarre. But I hadn't like checked in with her. I was gonna ask her tonight, but kind of got away from me. But yeah. And then there was that Debbie Collier with the fire. I guess they kind of came to she did that on purpose.
To herself? Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm sorry, but it's like so many other ways I would kill myself if I was going to do such a thing than to light myself on fire. Like, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm like drowning. Like they both. Here's Captain. You came back.
I'm back.
Whoa.
Yo.
Back again.
I've been having audio problems. I apologize.
Oh, that's all right.
I missed the dog, though.
You did? You missed my little guy? He'll probably wander back in here now that he's found me. But he is a pit mix. I mean, he doesn't really have like papers, so he's just from Misty Eyes in Avon, Indiana. There is a awesome shelter. It's called Misty Eyes, so we got him from there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was he elderly or a puppy? Or
he was young. He was pretty young. I mean, you know a little bit about what my daughter's syndrome. So with her, we just can't. Her doctors too. So it's not just like me saying this, but we have to be really careful. But it's in my heart to like adopt or to rescue. So it's over adoption, and so we waited on him for like a year. I'm like, I know we have to have a certain size, and we don't really care for, and they just go out of the shelter so fast. Like little dogs are out of the shelter in no time flat. And so we wanted to have like adopt or rescue a dog that would not get adopted out. But we still have to have them pretty young and pretty small, because she's got a bleeding disorder and a lung disorder and a heart disorder. And so it's kind of gets a little tricky when you have a small child with all that kind of stuff and you go to adopt or, rescue.
I don't know if it's the same there, but here, I have a friend that works closely in the rural area that I'm from. She works with the Humane Society there, and we're so bad. And I'm in Oklahoma. It's not quite the South, but same common problems, like people not spaying and neutering their dogs and all of that. So we actually ship a bunch of dogs up to the north because they have like a shortage of dogs because so many people adopt there and actually take care of things, but they won't take pit bulls or anything that they label as a pit bull, which is a bunch of, dogs that aren't actually pits. So those are the ones that are so hard to get homes here. And yeah, so there's always ones looking for homes. So good for you.
Right. Yeah, he is now Carol, but we've had him for going on 5 years now. So, and we had Adobe. We rescued Adobe before him, and he just died last year. Rest his soul. He was the best. But yeah, I think
best name ever.
I know, Doberman. He was awesome. But I think now that my daughter is older, we're probably gonna do older dogs that wouldn't normally have a home, period, if it not be for someone taking them in their like golden years. I think that's really, I want to do that. I think I can mentally and emotionally like handle it now.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to do something like that when I move. Right now, my boyfriend, he would like to do that, but he's very he gets worried about getting a dog that we don't know with our cats. So hopefully I'll have a setup one day where I can do that and he'll be happy with the cat safety.
The lace story, what's that? I forget.
Laced?
Oh,
This sounds good.
no. I think I know, but where I accidentally did cocaine.
Oh my.
Yeah. It was laced with, I thought it was just marijuana, but it was laced with actual like cocaine. And I didn't know that was a thing. I was 18 years old. And so I accidentally did cocaine once, and someone
Me
commented,
too.
You too?
Like
Oh,
5 or 6, 10
Total
times or something. I don't know.
It did not. It did
It's the
not go
90s.
well. It did not go well. I ended up with 3rd-degree burns on the back of my like shoulders and the arms from laying in the snow. Falling asleep in the snow. I have ADHD, so I don't know if it's because cocaine is like an upper that it put me into the snow, but it sure shit did. It was a mess. So, but his chat, like someone commented in his comment where I had mentioned it on when I did a live with CD, and they were like trying to judge me for it, of like, oh my gosh, it's a druggie.
Are you
And
serious?
just being all high on their horse or whatever. It was just like, I don't give a fork. I mean, if you really think that my accidentally doing coke because it was laced in marijuana is a big deal, then man, I feel bad for you.
If you judge somebody for doing coke purposefully when they're like 18, 20, whatever, I don't want to be friends with you.
There's my friend.
Ferret.
Oh my Lanta!
There's
Look,
my friend.
it looks like a little bear face.
It is my ferret. This is Bear.
So cute.
I went from 14 years of SPCA, having 14 dogs, to rescuing ferrets. I only have 2.
Awesome.
Her name is Bear.
She's cute.
She's so cute.
She's adorable.
I love ferrets. We have one.
I didn't even realize that.
Wow.
HCC.
I think that if we had another pet, it would be like a flying squirrel or something, just like totally weird. I couldn't do a bat, so I think the closest I could get to a bat would be a flying squirrel.
You wouldn't even
Not
believe
that
me if
they're
I told you about my pets.
Carol
What is that?
does have a bandit face, and she's real feisty like me. And her and I get along really well.
Oh yeah, that's right.
She steals my socks all the time. I can never find the second pair of socks because she thinks she owns my socks.
Aww.
I hope you don't mind I put her on.
No, not at all. Absolutely.
Can you hear me now?
Animal friendly chat. Yeah.
I
Okay, I'm back.
I didn't even know ferrets are called kits. Did you know that when they're babies, they're called kits?
Isn't that what
mean-
foxes are called too?
Yes.
I guess they're kind
Yeah.
of foxy.
I learned a lot by going to babies.
Have a good night, JST.
Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Guys, I'm having all kinds of audio problems. I'm gonna head out, but thanks for having me on.
Bummer.
Captain,
Okay,
Drew
Captain,
Fan
nice
here.
seeing or talking to you.
All right,
You're
take
not
care.
allowed to leave because
Bye-bye.
it's been great seeing you. And
We're
I've
about
never
to end.
met you, but I've heard of you for the last 5 years.
It's awesome. Thank you. I will definitely do this again. I'm totally down.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Good night, everybody.
My pleasure.
I bet he has the most
I've never
interesting-
met him, Mel. Thank you.
I heard he has goats and
Oh,
like
yeah.
owls,
Oh, yeah.
and he has a pet pickle.
A pet pickle.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
I was
No.
taking a drink when you
Pet
said that.
famous
I almost
people.
died.
I'm just kidding. I don't.
Pet pickle.
It's good. It's good.
A pet pickle named Tentacle.
Yes.
I have to say, Greeno's cellmate, love
Oh.
the name. I love the name. I don't know why.
I thought it was Ivy forever.
I
But
did too,
It's
actually.
not.
I'm not sure who you are, but very creative.
Pickle
Finding
Rickle.
snow off the ground, off the gourd. Oh, yes. I was gone. I was asleep. I took a nap out cold after that. But yeah, CD was talking about his funny story. So that was pretty funny too. I just immediately went to talking about myself. So, but anybody have any closing? We didn't get to the trivia, but maybe next week. Do anybody have any closing arguments to be made before we head out for the night?
I just want to say one thing. Great panel tonight. And I love that it was open and the chat did amazing. So
Yeah, I
thank
think so.
you.
Yeah, hopefully
It's
we
nice to
can-
be able to go somewhere and be able to just kind of lay it out there. Even if we're not right, we're putting our opinions out there. And I like that, Mel. Thank you.
Yeah, I hate having to go to places where I feel like I can't actually put my like thoughts in the chat because I might get booted. So
Yeah.
it's nice to have the openness to do that. But hopefully, I mean, I hope they do what's right for the case, but at the same time, I hope we learn some information on Tuesday and maybe the ball will get rolling on justice.
I think we're going to. I think that, like, well, I think it would be, and I still, like, I don't know. I mean, I need to really look into that this week because I am curious to know if the petition, I signed it and I meant it. It's just that, more analytical side of me, like, it just doesn't think that it's going to be kept. And I think that because if you think about what Doug Carter said, even what Prosecutor McLeland said, I don't even think he's planning on being it sealed for more than 30 days. But I do wonder if the petition will weigh on the decision made by the court. It's a possibility.
Yeah, he seemed to almost like know that it's going to be unsealed, or maybe he just assumes. I don't know.
All right. Hoosier, you got any last things to say? We got to get going.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
Good,
thanks for being here. Thanks. I appreciate it. And we'll see you over on your stream.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'll send the link in our secret chat so our friends can join.
Okay.
Please do.
I'm
I mean, they
so-
can become members, but you guys can join anyway.
Oh, you got to make them be members. That's just it.
I'm a member.
It's
I'm a
exclusive.
member now, HCC.
Aw.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we better get to work then.
All
Yeah.
right.
I'll see you
All
guys
right.
later.
Thank you for having me on. I'll see everybody
Yes.
later.
Thank you,
Thank you
Mel.
for being here. Thank you
Bye.
both. I will see you over there.
Bye.
But thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I hope that it went well. It gets difficult when you've got a lot of people on panel, but I think everybody did a great job and respectful and gave everybody chances. And I am more than likely going to do this again next week. I think probably Friday afternoon, because, you know, there's the Thanksgiving and then everybody's kind of off the next day. Get your shopping done in the morning, take a nap, and then maybe like early evening next Friday, probably only for maybe an hour or so, not a super long one. But yeah, I think getting to chat with more creators is nice. I like doing that. And I like having an eclectic group of creators that I support and that support me. I think that's what makes the world go round. And when we can all kind of put our differences aside and just hang out and enjoy each other's company. You know, the world takes all kinds of kinds, and I think that it is it's beneficial when we talk with people that are different than us, and I super enjoy that. So I appreciate each and every one of you that came on and joined me tonight. I thoroughly enjoyed having you on, and I really appreciate you. And to the chat, I tried. It is like with having the group that we had on the panel and keeping up, like not feeling like I was just not paying attention to anybody. I probably neglected the chat again. I just have my mind is just not wired to split itself, especially just in order to just to pay attention. I just can't divide very much. I've never been able to do that, but I hope that, yeah. Oh, is it? But yeah, like you hit me up anytime, CD. Like totally enjoy doing lives with you. I think we had a great time when I was on your channel. That was so fun. And we've been on I think it was Sunny's. That was fun too. But yeah, so and I mean Aspen Connor is going to be coming back sometime. I think like he's not just going to move there. Sheesh. So hopefully he will be joining on next week's live, and who knows? We'll see. But for tonight, thank you, Otto Man. Good night to you too, sir. Thank you all for being here, and I hope you all have a good one. See you later.